Well, hi everybody. You're going to be looking at a static image here for a little bit as I open the video, because for the first 4 or 5 clips of this video I didn't realize that my microphone was not turned on. It's one of those wireless ones, and sometimes it just doesn't turn on, and that's very rare. I don't usually have to even worry about it, but this time it did it to us. So what you're looking at is a realistic model QTA-770 quadraphonic receiver. And the thing I really am interested about in this receiver is the fact that it has a CD4 phonostage, meaning it can decode CD4 encoded quadraphonic. And if you don't know anything about that, CD4 is different from some of the matrix type quadraphonic encoding in that it works similar to FM multiplex stereo, where you have a pilot tone that acts as a carrier, and you have an ultrasonic frequency band between 30 and 45 kilohertz that will carry the rear channel information, and then you have on your main baseband, between 0 and 15 kilohertz, you have your baseband audio, which is going to be your left and right channel information for the front. So left and channel front is your baseband, and then left and right channel rear is in the ultrasonic carrier frequency with the 30 kilohertz pilot tone. Just in a nutshell how it works. And I'm very interested in this. Now I have a quadraphonic setup that is CD4 capable. It's an old Sears Roebuck branded, but it's actually a Fisher quadraphonic with CD4. And it works perfectly. It's totally unrestored. And I have a Pioneer PL590 turntable with a dedicated quadraphonic rated cartridge and stylus. It's actually a vintage one with a new stylus, and it works perfectly. And when you get CD4 to work, it's nothing short of magical to listen to. Now, one of the things about quadraphonic, everybody's going to immediately, especially the younger folks, is going to immediately say, well, we have digital multi-channel audio now, like surround sound, and like Dolby Atmos and ProLogic and all these things. But actually, those things are developed for the movie industry. Quadraphonic, back in the 1970s, was developed from the ground up to listen to music, to audio music. And a lot of work and effort went into making these recordings, especially the CD4, which is very rare. You don't see them today. And if you get everything set properly, which is a little bit of a challenge, they sound amazing. Now, a lot of you may have heard of the QS or the SQ. SQ is stereo quadraphonic. QS is quadraphonic simplex or something like that. I don't remember. That's something made by Sansui. But those ones are all matrix based, and they work with different phase angles and so forth. It's a completely different setup, and you don't get nearly the channel separation on those. They're more like a matrixed 4-channel than they are an actual discrete 4-channel sound. They can sound really a nice wide, 3-dimensional soundstage, but nothing like what true CD4 quadraphonic would sound like, or discrete quadraphonic. So that's why this receiver is so interesting to me. By the time they came out with the next model, the QS790 or the QTA-770, they no longer used the CD4. They took that out, so it was a real watered down version of this receiver. So this is kind of a rare animal a little bit. And it's small and compact, and it's very well built and very serviceable. Now, the only bummer about this is there is no schematic. I have a full service manual with the alignment and so forth, but it does not include the schematics. And everywhere I've gone, I have not been able to find an actual schematic. I have a schematic for the 790, which I'm hoping the amplifier and so forth will be the same, but of course it's not going to have the CD4 decoder because it doesn't exist on the 790. So I would love to get my hands on a copy of the schematic for this. Now, I don't know if any of you can find that or you know where it's available for download, but I've tried all my sources and was unable to find anything. So let me know if you find anything like that. So anyway, there's a little brief catch up of what's going on. And now I'll start with the part of the video where I actually start talking. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention probably the best resource you can find online for quadraphonic audio, quadraphonic gear, quadraphonic music, and so forth, and just a lot of forums and so forth. And it's a website called quadraphonicquad.com. If you're really interested in this type of technology, that's the site to check out. And again, this is not a paid endorsement or anything. I found them a long time ago, and I got a membership on there. It doesn't cost anything to join up. And then you have access to all the forums and to all the information and so forth. And they're just trying to keep the whole thing of quadraphonic audio alive. So check them out if you get a chance. They're a great resource, and I've found an awful lot of things through that website. So shout out to them. Well, the whole first part of this video I recorded with my microphone turned off. So I'll give you a very brief synopsis of what was going on and try to sorry about that. So the amplifier, I'm hoping, is going to be the same as on the QTA-770. The 790 is a later model. It was similar to this, but they removed the CD4 decoder for this, for the record, for the phono stage, the audio rotator, and it's basically a watered down version of this, I think. The faceplate is different and the controls are a little bit moved around and so forth. But I'm hoping from an amplifier standpoint and power supply standpoint that this is going to be similar, because I have a schematic for the 790. The service manual for this that's available everywhere, no matter where you try to download it, does not have a schematic. So if any of you know of a source that I can get the actual schematic for the 770, that would be really helpful, because I really want to see the design and the schematic for this CD4 and the SQ demodulator. I'm assuming that the SQ and CD4 are both on the same board. You can tell that this is that because the controls for the CD4 separation and the phono inputs and everything, they all go, up here, they all go onto this board. So this is definitely your phono board with the quadraphonic decoders. This is going to be your tone control, line, stage, and all that. And although this amp does not look like it's going to be easy to service, it's also not going to be the hardest one to service either. So at least, it looks serviceable. This is the main amplifier, is one big module. I don't know how easy it will be to remove, or if there will be enough wire length that I can just unscrew the heatsink and just bring the whole thing out to work on it. We'll have to look at that. It looks like it's removable though. Power supply is right here. It's very simple, not much to it. There's a regulated supply here, and the unregulated big supply is here. The filters, the rectifiers and everything are all on the same board, so it's pretty compact. This is not a huge transformer, but this thing's only rated at somewhere around 20 watts per channel times 4, and then you can run it in a bridged mode, I believe, where this will be one channel and this will be one channel. I like the TO3 transistors. That gives us a lot of options if one of them is bad to replace. So I think this is going to be a serviceable device. And this is your tuner board up here. So there's your AM and FM. And it does have 1, 2, 3, was it 4, 5, 6, 7 gangs, I guess you can call that, because you have these little ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can say that's 7 gangs. It's a decent tuner, I can imagine. So I'm pretty excited. Again, CD4 is going to be, and again, I said all this stuff, but it got cut off because of the audio. CD4 is going to work in a similar principle to the FM stereo, multiplex signal. So you're going to have a pilot tone, and then you're going to have your baseband audio, and then you're going to have your ultrasonic level audio that runs with that pilot tone to keep everything in sync. So everything from 0 up to 15 kilohertz or so is going to be your audio level. And then at 30 kilohertz up to about 45 kilohertz, that 15 kilohertz bandwidth is going to be your rear channels. So you'll have your front channels on your normal stereo, and then the rear channels will be your encoded, upper band. So we'll get more into that. Again, I'm learning this along with you, so don't take all I'm saying as gospel, because of course I'm going to be learning on this with you. All right, let's plug this thing in and see how it works. Okay, here we go. Well, that's not good. The unit is turned on and plugged in, and nothing. So let's check our fuse. Oh, a cremated fuse. So good thing we're going to be using our dim bulb tester. And this is supposed to be a 12 volt 5 amp fuse, and this is a 750 milliamp fuse. Well, I wonder if that's a little bit of a problem. Am I seeing that right? 750 mA, 250 volt. And down here it very clearly says, you probably can't see it, but it says fuse 125 volt 5 amp. So let me get a 5 amp fuse. Okay, I'm going to start out with a fast acting 5 amp fuse, just in case. And that doesn't feel like it's making any, I think the spring's missing from this too, because it's not even making any kind of contact. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, this is janky. So the fuse isn't making any contact. And the reason it isn't is the spring is missing from in there. And somebody shoved a piece of wire in there. So I will have to find a spring to go in there now too. Okay, I found a donor cap that doesn't have a fuse holder to go with it, and it had a new spring in it. Look at that, a good spring. So I'll plop that in there. It's probably not the right one, but that's a little bit too much. I'm gonna have to cut that down a little bit. All right, give me a second. Okay, so I've cut it down, gave it a little stretch there and put it in. And now it's actually putting good tension on there. Perfect. Okay, where were we? Let's see. Okay, got everything in view. Tiny little flicker there. Now I do not see a safety circuit in here at all. I don't see any kind of, the lights are on, but I do not see any protect circuit on here. There might be one somewhere on this amplifier board, but I don't see it. So I have a feeling this one's going to be a speaker burner, and we may have to add that. And for 4 channels, that's going to make it pretty fun, so we may have to get creative with that. So let's go on to volts, and let's see if there is any type of nastiness on the speaker terminals. Well, first of all, let's make sure the speakers are selected. Let's see, we got main. Turn on the main speakers. Can you see my meter? Yes, you can. So main speakers. Let's see. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. And nothing there. So that's good. So there's nothing on the speaker terminals. Let's take a look at the collectors of all the transistors. Let's see what's on those. 27 volts. Nothing. 27 volts. Nothing. 27 volts. Nothing. 27 volts. Perfect. Okay. So they all have their voltages for the most part. Now, of course, that's just part of it. And we can look at the collectors as well. I mean the emitters. And we should see the negative voltage on that. So let's see here. And there it is. Negative 27. Negative 27. Negative 27. Negative 27. Okay, good. So amplifier is on, and there's a good chance that this thing just may work. Okay, so this is one of those amps that has both the screw terminals for speakers and the RCA terminals for speakers, because it's a low-powered amp. A lot of the Radio Shack lower-powered ones had that, and a lot of their speakers had RCA jacks on the back of them too, so you could just use an RCA plug. How they did it. So I'm just feeding into the front channels and monitoring the front channels right now. And I have a 1 kilohertz on there, so let's just see real quick. And it's a little bit dirty control, as you can see, but there. But yeah, we're getting a good signal, even though it's dirty. So let's change over to the other one. Go to the rear channels. Turn this one up. And dirty controls again, but we have a good signal once again. Let's see. Kind of cruddy, but hey, it's there. Good. The amplifier works. Okay, so I'm going to end this one right here, and in part 2, depending on what you all say in the comments, we'll look at the rest of the function of the amp, and then maybe, like I said, that's when I'm going to really start getting into the CD4 decoder and trying to get it to work and see if it's functional. See if we can at least get it to light up on a pilot tone and so forth. So let me know in the comments. For right now, I wish you all peace, joy, happiness, and good health in your lives. And it's getting time to head out to work here. So we'll catch you all later on. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.